Hi class, and welcome to EDU360 Curriculum Methods for Middle School Teachers. I am Professor Rook, and I'm excited to be your instructor. When I looked at the names on the roster, some of you I've had before and the names I recognize, and for some of you this is our first class together. So I'm excited to begin this journey with you, and I look forward to getting to know you over the semester. In this course, in a nutshell, what we particularly aim to do is to investigate different best practices with curriculum, instruction, classroom management. We also explore the cognitive and the moral domain of the middle school student and how those impact the curriculum that best serves their needs. We're also going to investigate some different ingenious and out-of-the-box techniques for instructing middle school students, some of the current trends that are occurring, and we're going to look at educating for all intelligences at the middle school level, for the gifted student, the student with special needs, and for at-risk students as well. So we cover quite a bit, and I think you're going to find that you're going to learn a lot, you're going to be challenged, but I think you're going to enjoy the course content quite a bit. So let's get into the nitty-gritty with respect to how the course is designed and what you can anticipate on a weekly basis. So if you would like to log into Blackboard, that would be great, and pull up our course. I can kind of give you a little bit of a walkthrough of what to expect. So firstly, when you log in, it's going to default to the announcements page, which is where you're going to find this video. Every couple weeks, I'll upload a short video that describes kind of the aims of those 2 weeks, and it gives you a little more clarification on assignments. They'll probably reflect questions and emails that I've received regarding assignments, and I might also just give you a few nuggets of thought about what to hone in on as you're reading. We're going to read much of our text, which is the exemplary middle school, and it's a lot of information to take in a short period of time. So sometimes I'll probably say, hey, really focus in on this section. This one is really critical. So look for those videos in the announcements, which is where, when you open Blackboard, you'll default to. But for your first time getting into the course, you should go to the Start Here button, read a little bit about the class, and then it says, hey, let's get started. And to get started, what you're going to want to do is go to Course Information and download and print. I would suggest printing, but I'm an old lady and I like to highlight and work with hard copies. So I would suggest printing the syllabus and at the least the course calendar, because the course calendar is really your roadmap through this course to make sure that you get all your assignments in when they're due. So we talk about what the course covers in a nutshell. So I'm looking at the course information sheet, course syllabus, get it on there. And I want to talk about the text, which I mentioned, and then there's some eReserve resources on there. You don't have to worry about those. I'm basically going to have PDFs available to you when those readings will occur in their weeks. They were given to me from the library because they were underneath a certain amount of pages, which meant that I could upload them for you without you having to purchase them. They're just password protected, but when we get there, I'll give you the password, and it's really not a big deal. So don't worry about those readings. The course assignments and grade breakdown, which is what most students care most about, including myself. So I get it. Discussions. Our primary way of engaging each other and really participating in social constructivism is through the discussion board. And the discussions are going to account for 15% of your grade. You'll notice when you're reading on the course information sheet that I require your initial discussion post to be due by 11:59 on Wednesday nights. And then you're required to respond to 2 classmates' posts with a substantial reply no later than Sunday. Now here's what I will allow. I do say 2 classmates, but it can be 1 classmate that you have issued 2 substantial replies to because you've engaged in a rich dialogue. So I want the discussion board really to mirror a discussion. That's what it should be. So If you want to just reply to one student, but they respond, then you respond back, then maybe they respond with some concluding remarks, or let it go on. You know, you may find that you're really engrossed into something that is really stimulating and you want to continue to allow that discussion to go on. That'd be wonderful. But the discussions do account for 15% of your grade, and those timelines and dates midweek are there because they really promote authentic dialogue. If everybody's getting initial posting on Sunday, then it doesn't allow for fruitful dialogue. So that's why the deadlines are what they are. There will be 3 tests. They are open book. They are based solely on our text, the exemplary middle school student. They are not over the entire text. Specifically, the tests are essay tests over chapters 1 through 3. That's test 1. Chapter 5 is its own test. And then chapter 7 is its own test. I realize that this text has a lot, and we will apply all of it, but in different formats. But the tests are over just those chapters. I really want to help you not experience cognitive overload. I've taken several online courses myself, and one experience that I have had is feeling like there's so much reading and so many assignments. I get them all done and I do well, but at the end I'm like, wait, I forgot everything I learned because there was just so much. So I don't want you to feel so overwhelmed that you're not able to really soak in the learning that is occurring. So that's why the tests aren't comprehensive over the entire book. There are 3 performance assessments, and these performance assessments really have to do with standards that you are supposed to meet as individuals who are seeking certification at the middle school level, and they are designed around those standards. You'll see on the Blackboard shell that I have a tab on the left-hand side called Performance-Based Projects. These do not start until week 6 because I really want you to have a lot of theory and pedagogy and solid research-related reading under your belt before we get into those. But you can take a look at them if you would like, so you get an idea of what they center around. And what they do center around is interdisciplinary learning and curriculum writing, discipline, and leadership. And really those are 3 of the most essential things that you're going to need to continue to cultivate in yourself to be successful at teaching at the middle school level. So that's why the performance-based projects are centered around those particular topics. There are short written assignments throughout the course. We don't have a discussion board every week. Like I said, I've taken online courses, and one thing that I've also experienced is what I call discussion board fatigue. That comes with having a discussion board every single week. So even though I think they're really important for cultivating dialogue and learning, I also know that your insides can become very resistant to them and almost irritated when there's too much dialogue. So sometimes we just have short written assignments each week where you will individually reflect on some type of pedagogy or the reading that you have done. That accounts for 20% of your grade. So far, discussions 15, tests 25, there are 3 of them, so that boils down to about 8.3% each. Those performance assessments, those 3 big projects, those are about 8.3% each. And then the short written assignments, which are several throughout the 16 weeks. When I say short, that's 1 to 2 pages. That's 20% of your grade. You're going to complete 2 case studies. They are short in length too, about 2 pages, 2 to 3 pages, and you're going to do that in pairs through creating a Google Doc so that I can visit and see how it's going and maybe add some comments or just be a good cheerleader as you're working on those. They won't occur for a little while, but they're case studies at the middle school level that have to deal with relevant issues that you would encounter, and I think you'll have fun with those. Then there's 1 review of literature that you're going to complete, and it's on constructivism, and you will be starting that this week, and I give you all the details for that on the left-hand toolbar as well. There's a review of literature tab. There's an extensive rubric there, and you'll have plenty of time to work on that, but you're able to get started with it right away, so you can flexibly work with your schedule and get it done in a way that best accommodates your life. Okay, so that is the course grade breakdown. You have the grading scale, and you also have all the standards from the Specialized Professional Association that oversees our middle school certification. So you're free to read through those extra details, but I won't go through that right now. So this week, what you're going to do is you're going to click on the Learning Sessions folder. You'll always click on that. And every Sunday night, the next week's content will become available. But when you click on this week's learning session, and you click on week 1, you'll notice that you have several different items under the checklist that you're going to want to do. You're going to want to introduce yourself in the Let's Get Acquainted discussion board. You'll want to read This We Believe framework, which has the conceptual framework for all the middle school standards. Then you're going to read chapter 1 of your text, which looks at what is the middle school student. It looks at the cognitive development and the moral development of a middle school student given their age and where they're at in life. You're going to look at several different theorists and educational psychologists and what they produce through their research. You'll specifically be looking at Piaget and Kohlberg and Erickson and Gardner. And you're also going to be looking at some of the best practices for serving at-risk students and the different cultural aspects that feed into what makes an at-risk student at risk. So be looking at poverty, race, and ethnicity. So chapter 1 is really meaty, but I think it's going to lay the foundation for the rest of the course. You'll read that. You're going to read an article on constructivist pedagogy, which will be helpful not only this week when you're writing your discussion board, but it's also going to be very helpful as you launch then into that review of literature that you'll begin this week. Next week, when you go on, because I'm not going to upload a video every single week because I'm afraid you'll get sick of seeing me. But next week, when you click on your learning session, you are going to be reading not from this textbook, but you're going to be reading from a PDF that I've uploaded called Hard to Handle Parents. A portion of this class is really aimed at cultivating your leadership skills. And so when you're reading about that, you're going to read about successful strategies for how to form relationships with parents and how to help them, help their child learn, and how to deal with difficult situations when parents are questioning you over certain issues. So you'll be reading chapters 1 through 3, and you'll complete a short written reflection on your reading. You'll also be viewing a video called Inside a Middle School from the Teaching Channel, and you'll complete a discussion that centers around that Teaching Channel video. And then you'll continue to work on your review of literature. So that's the first 2 weeks in a nutshell, and that's the basic layout of how this course will continue to go over the course of the semester. So if you have any questions over the course information sheet, the assignments, how to use the various parts of Blackboard, please don't hesitate to email me. Also notice, and I failed to mention this, but in the course information sheet, actually, it's not written here because this is an online course, but I'm going to tell you, I have office hours on campus Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon to 2:30. You are more than welcome to come in and visit me during office hours. Even though this is an online class, I know that many of you are on campus, and so am I. So please feel free to come in if you ever want to chit-chat or if there's anything you'd like to clarify or clear up in person. One other thing I wanted to add about the discussion boards, it's great for you when you're responding to the discussion to pull in some of the research that's come from the text or other readings that you've done, just to give your reading or your discussion and the statements that you're making more support. It helps to make the discussions more rich. So feel free to cite different portions of the book. I think that that will help to extend our dialogue. Be expecting me to jump in during those discussions too. I will probably do so Thursday and Friday of each week, and feel free to dialogue back and forth with me as well. But that's about it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me, and welcome to EDU360.